pandemic has spread faster than any disease in modern history.
Angry mobs roam the city, burning buildings.
Authorities are bracing for more rioting tonight.
While Resident Evil 0 and the remake of the original game were okay, but not great, the second one blew me away. Resident Evil 3 is supposed to be weaker, both in the original and the remake, but I just wanted to continue after the hype from the previous game. Also, I originally wanted to play through the Operation Raccon City game, but I double checked and that one seems to play during part 2 and 3. Also part 3 plays 24 hours before part 2. Confused yet? I sure as hell am. Anyways, I suspected that this one will also be better than Operation Raccon City, and what should I say? The start was pretty good. I really enjoyed the beginning of the game. Sure, it's more scripted and feels smaller, but it still had good level design, and I enjoyed the more action-packed gameplay. At least in the beginning. We play this time as Jill Valentine, who escaped the mansion and wanted to expose the Umbrella Corporation. Now she still lives in Raccon City, for some reason, and suddenly all hell breaks loose. The city is swarmed by zombies and bioorganic weapons. Basically monsters. There's also a tyrant on the loose who seems to be even more vicious than the previous one, and he has one goal: kill. While pretty threatening at first, I found myself being more annoyed by him the longer he had chased me than anything else, to be honest. Which is bad as you spent the whole game with him. When I think of Mr. X from Resident Evil 2, I think of a threatening presence, stalking me through narrow hallways and beating the shit out of me. Nemesis, the new tyrant, is in bigger spaces most of the time and has a lot of tricks up his sleeve, which makes fighting him more annoying than anything else. He can use tentacles, jump around like Spider-Man, has weapons and so on. Every time you meet him out in the open, he's a nuisance. When you actually have to fight him, he is rather easy to defeat actually. Also in that one spot, when he is chasing you and you have to open an air vent, I tried to fight him off a bit, and eventually opened the air vent while Nemesis was hit with a grenade and dropped an item. Unfortunately I already triggered the animation and couldn't go back, even later on, which is an issue in general in this game. When compared to the previous ones, or even Resident Evil in general for the most part. In the other Resident Evil games so far, and most Resident Evil games I played, I remember it was possible to go back to almost every spot in the game, also pretty late in the game. Here it is not possible, which I would understand as you are on the run and being chased for a big portion of the game. But there are many spots which you should be able to go back, but you can't. You walk up a ladder and can't go back. You return to the corridor which led to the air vent, but now it's locked for no reason. And it gets worse as it continues. As I said, I like the beginning, but it gets worse and worse gameplay wise. There are also some enemies which one-hit you later on. You also have no defense items here. Grenades are just another kind of weapon and not a separate kind of weapon style. You once again get upgrades for your weapons, and the number of weapons is quite limited. Limited is also the playtime. There's also no real incentive for a second playthrough, or special modes this time. I have nothing against the short playtime in general when I have a good time, but here even the short playtime is overstaying its welcome. The checkpoints are also pretty badly placed, to be honest. Fortunately, this is quite an easy game, and I hardly died, so it wasn't so jarring. I also played on normal once again, which is rather easy. The story starts strong and feels a little bit different than the other Resident Evil games. There's more cursing, people are more angry, and it feels more human.
Listen, I promise you're in good hands. I'm with the Umbrella Biohazard Countermeasure Service, UBCS for short.
Are you kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? You guys are the ones who caused all of this.
Whoa, 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 whoa. What are you talking about? Look, you don't have to trust me, but I'm going to the shelter. You coming?
It's also not as awkwardly acted as previous Resident Evil games. Graphics and animations are also once again pretty good. There were some moments with an obvious slowdown, but these were really just moments and rarely in the game. The real problem here are the gameplay and story later on. The enemies like hunters and those giant walking fish monsters which one hit you are super annoying. There are also once again the Paleheads, which regenerate super quickly. Nemesis is also a pain in the neck in the beginning, but once you are forced to fight him, he is very easy to defeat actually. The story, while interesting at first, really falls on its face in the end. In the showdown it also gets anime as fuck, including an almost Akira-like looking flesh end boss, who shoots his tentacles around and can also one-hit you, and which has to be defeated with a goddamn railgun. There are a couple of very easy puzzles, and at a certain point the game is getting from pretty linear to extremely linear. It's really a pity, and because of that bad ending I even thought of giving this one a 6 out of 10. But while writing this I have remembered the beginning, and I really liked that. There are cool sequences when you fight the dogs, or another one where you have to fight giant bugs in an electrical power station. Unlocking all the stuff in the shops in the start area was also fun. There are a lot of shops which offer different items and they have to be unlocked with certain gadgets. There are also some bonus things in it, like for example some figures and stuff like that. While the ending is bad, I think you will probably still have fun with this one. I don't know how this compares to the original though. I've heard they cut some stuff out. I mean, it already feels like this is a major downgrade from the last game, so I can see that as well. The Resident Evil 3 remake was just like the first remake, a disappointment for me, but it's still not a bad game, I would say. While the first remake didn't work for me personally in some aspects of gameplay and level design decisions, this one is just not as well executed, but it can still be fun. It is a shame though, as you have seen that this could have worked like it worked in the remake of the second one. The beginning of the game was pretty great though, but as it progressed it just gets weaker and weaker, which is unfortunate and it gives you almost no replay value. You get the possibility to replay the game with a shop, which gives you the opportunity to buy items, but with this one I didn't really care to replay it. As you can pick it up for pretty cheap when it's on sale, it could still be worth it, but be aware that this is a lesser version of the remake of the second game. And with that said, I will give Resident Evil 3 a 7 out of 10. It's closer to a 6, but it's still good enough for a 7, I would say. But just barely. And next time I will actually play a Resident Evil game which I have played previously. Resident Evil Operation Raccon City. And I'm curious how it will hold up compared to the last time I played it years ago.
Oh, come on.